Shit, it's crazy as hell.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 4, everyone. As you can see, the weeks are flying by, right? So this week is a very important week. I have been talking to you guys about the conditional enrollment period, which is going to end this week 4, right? So what that means, okay? It means that you must have a passing grade of 60% or higher in order to continue the class, okay? So it is very important that you try your best. If you have anything missing out there, right, get it done. I want to see all of you guys move on to week 5. And I'm sure probably most of you guys are doing great, but if you're not, I was reaching out to whoever needs to get stuff done. So please, if you're missing something like your week 2, get it done, right? If you miss your week 3 discussion, I have it open for you guys. I even sent out a message this morning letting you know, hey, you forgot this, right? I want you guys to take advantage and get it done because it is very important to keep going. You guys have done a lot of work already, put a lot of effort into this, and I don't want to see anyone being dropped. But the reason we do this for your own benefit, right? The schools don't want you guys to accumulate more debt in case something's not working out for you, right? Which also means that if you get dropped, you can come back again, right? It doesn't mean that you're going to be just kicked out of school forever. You're going to be able to get back again, but at a later start, right? So that's what I wanted to tell you. I also want to bring Chef Eric because you guys have done a great job this week 3. He's been having a rough day today. His technology is not working too well with the grading, but you know what? He's managing. He's a chef. He can get things done no matter what. Right, Chef Eric?
You know that, right, Chef? I like to always have a backup plan, right? Is always being prepared and being proactive is the name of the game as a chef. So, always have some other go-to. I have like 3 different programs that I utilize for your guys' video feedback, just in case one of them decides to take a dump on me like it did today. I can go ahead and hop on the other one and keep it going, right? Like as if I never stopped working. So, it goes the same for just work in general, especially as a chef. You got to be prepared for the unexpected. So that way you can really get that product out to your guests the way it's supposed to be, with minimal changes possible. But excellent work last week, guys. This past week, great job. Only thing is, let's work on that time management, okay? As to where this week, a lot fewer of you got things into me by the end of the weekend. Probably only about 30 of you. So let's work on that a little bit more because it's going to be in your best interest. Like I've been telling you guys is, if you get that in by the end of the weekend and have Monday and Tuesday available to go ahead and listen to your feedback, make improvements if and when necessary, or even getting a jump start on that next week, you're always going to be ahead of the game. Okay. But the biggest challenge I found for all of y'all were those darn little brunoise, right? I know it's a lot easier with the potato than it is with an onion, right? So expect some more curveballs coming your way moving forward, right? Is to where the curriculum's only going to get a little bit more structured, a little bit more difficult week after week. Okay, we're going to be asking a few more things of you, having you multitask. So, like I said, be proactive, be prepared, expect the unexpected. All right, especially when it comes down to those knife cup. Keep practicing, guys, right? Do it on your everyday meals. It's like if you have something to cut, whether it's just an apple for a snack, go ahead and practice those knife cuts. Small dice an apple for a nice little snack. It's like work on those types of things every opportunity you get, because that's going to be the only way you get better at those skills. Okay, but a lot of people also did full meals out of this, which I was so excited about, right? I saw a lot of chicken, some additional ham thrown in there, some other turkey necks in there, right? Really kind of bringing out that creative side. So keep it up, as long we welcome creativity, right? That's what we do as chefs. So bring it to me, just stick to those requirements page, right? Nobody says that you need to make rice pilaf with onion only. Right? You can go ahead and make rice pilaf with onion, red peppers, green peppers, throw in some jalapenos in there, kick it up a notch, have some fun, get some practice with that technique. All right. Same thing with those beans. As you guys know, thousands of different kinds of beans out there. Some people threw at me some lentils, which I was excited to see. I was like, sweet. All right. Dipping into the grab bag of beans and seeing what we got. So, keep playing around, and I can't wait to see more from you as we keep on moving forward. So remember, like Chef said, this week is very, very important. So the earlier, the better, guys. I can't preach that enough.
Thank you, Chef. I'm glad you guys are trying different things, so adding different ingredients, like what Chef, you're saying. We're gonna allow you guys to be creative. So if you don't want to change a little bit the recipe here and there, hey, feel free. As long as, like he's saying, stick to the guidelines to those photos. And also, as the name implies for this class, foundations, right? It is very important you practice your techniques every week because you're gonna be using some of these techniques later on in your future classes, right? If you don't practice that, you're gonna be like, wow, what happened here? How am I gonna do this week? So also when you get out into the business, right? If you go, you're gonna have to do an externship. I want all of you guys to be able to walk into any restaurant and do any of these techniques, right? I don't want to be like, whoa, I don't know how to do this because I didn't do my assignment for that week. That's not going to sound very nice to the chef, right? So everything that you learn here, you're going to be using in the future classes. So remember, that's why it's so important that you don't skip anything, right? And again, with that being said, you guys are just going to do great this week. And this week, especially, you want to start, doing your assignments maybe in 2 days, right? And I'm gonna explain why in a little bit. So start, preparing and playing like a chef. Do not wait until Tuesday, no more, okay? And once you get into this habit of doing your assignments early, you're gonna do it, right? Sometimes Chef Eric was doing his work, like at midnight or 5 in the morning when he wasn't going to school. He is a chef. You want to get things done, no matter what time it is. It has to be done. It has to be done. So when you work in the business, if you have to do something for next day, you do not go home until everything is done because you might have a big day next morning or next day, a big party, whatever. If you don't have everything done, you're not gonna do well, and you're gonna be so stressed, and your guests are not gonna be happy. And we don't want that. So I want you guys to start thinking like a chef. And this is going to carry on with you when you get into the business. And you're going to do very well in your school and here too. So this is something very, very important. Okay. So I want to hear from you guys. What was some of the wow, haha moments you got from your week 3 doing the pilaf and the beans? Anybody wants to share their experience with that? Kelly, go ahead, Kelly, please.
I tried to do butter beans as my bean first. That didn't work out as planned, and they weren't very good butter beans to begin with. The skins popped off, and they all popped apart just soaking them overnight. So I basically had to trash all of that and start over with a different bean. I'm not still sure what I did wrong, but I do want to work on that or try to figure that out. And they were actually lima beans, actually.
Lima beans. Oh,
yes.
okay. They're not okay. Those are little softer beans, and that's why they got like they broke up like that. Yes, yes. It's like little lentils. You don't have to soak lentils overnight, so.
Right, and I didn't think that through at first.
Yeah. So, and you know what? Again, it's a learning experience, right? We make mistakes as chefs, but I'm sure you're never gonna do that again, right?
No. No.
So that's something that and even if you make a mistake, we'll learn from mistakes, and there's nothing wrong. I'm telling you, there's no success without making mistakes in life. Okay, especially being a chef, I still make mistakes sometimes. I'm telling you, we're not perfect. And again, I want you to feel comfortable doing that because you learn a lot from making mistakes.
And they did try to actually, they started to ferment too really quickly compared to the other beans that I tried.
See? So it's a learning experience too. That's great. I love it. The observations. That's great. Thank you so much, Kelly. Wesley, comments?
Yeah, I was just surprised how well they absorbed the water because the container I had at first, I thought it'd be plenty big enough, but once they started absorbing it, I'd put them in a bigger one.
Yeah, it's like a sponge because they're dry and they're gonna soak up a lot of moisture. So that's why I told you guys. Remember, it's like you gotta leave enough water above the beans, right? So they can soak overnight and have plenty of water not to dry up. So that's a great observation too. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes, when I did my beans, I soaked them overnight. By morning, they were almost out of water. But when I cooked them, they turned out really nice. Everybody in the house loved them and got angry because there was no more. And I said, well, I'll make more later.
That's good. I'm glad that they're enjoying that. Your family, making a family, a meal. That's great. And I'm sure they got a lot more coming their way, especially this week. They're gonna love it. The fresh pasta, your Alfredo sauce, and your tomato sauce. It's gonna be a great week for you and your family again. Thank you so much, Andrea.
I decided to use pinto beans. I wanted to make like chili spicy beans. So my friend is a vegetarian, so she was my taste dummy for the night. And I decided to put a bonnet pepper in it. This is hilarious because my mom grows peppers because she's from the islands. And I decided to take a bonnet pepper from my mom, and which I did. I came home, I cut the pepper up, and I washed my hands. So not realizing it, I went and touched my eye. Oh my gosh. My eye was like on fire. So I called my mom and I'm like, is this a bonnet pepper? She was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you, it was a scorpion pepper.
Oh, those even more. Oh my God. Those are
yes. So like my beans came out good, but my eye was burning the whole entire night. Like for 2 days, my eyes was burning.
Oh my God, I can only imagine. Those scorpion peppers are super hot. I'm sorry to hear.
So I told her to start labeling her things in her garden, so I know. Like if I'm in class now, I'm gonna be borrowing fresh herbs and stuff like that.
Nice.
I need things to be labeled. But my beans came out great.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. And I'm sorry about that. Hey, Tina. Tina, you there? Okay, we'll come back to Tina. Noemi? Noemi? No, Noemi. Natalia?
I soaked.
Natalia, go ahead.
Yeah, I soaked too many beans, but I was lucky that I could freeze most of it. So yeah, and my beans came out really good. I've never done any of the techniques before, and I was like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do now here? So I started with the beans first because I thought they were going to be, more challenging. But I found that I was really enjoying doing that, both the beans and the rice. So yeah,
I love it. And like Chef,
I love this week.
Yeah, you can.
I actually love this week more than all the other.
Well, you got a lot more weeks coming your way. You're gonna love more stuff that's coming your way. Oh my God, you're gonna really enjoy it. But again, like Chef was saying, you can make so many different dishes with the beans and the rice. I mean, it's just, oh my God, you can do so much. So those are really like a canvas to really do. Oh my God, you can just, if you Google like recipes, and you're gonna find recipes from all over the world, and they're all gonna be different, right? So that's something you can really do a different dish every day for 365 days a year. I'm telling you, you will. But great, thank you so much. One more, Stephanie Williams. Stephanie, are you there?
Hi.
Hi there.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? I just want to say I really enjoyed this week. It was a stressful week, but I really enjoyed it, especially the bean dishes. And I used those 9 different beans. The bean soup, the original one, it turned out like some of the beans didn't get as soft as the others. They were a little bit hard, even though I soaked them for about 12 hours. But when I pureed all the beans and made it into like a creamy soup, oh my word, that was so good. I had a little bit more
I'm sorry.
Stephanie.
And my husband absolutely loved it. And he was the one that suggested, hey, make this into a bean dip. And it was phenomenal.
Cool.
Hello?
Nice. 2 more questions. I'm going to start our class for this week. Okay, Danita? Danita?
Good evening, Chef and Piers. Good evening.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm babysitting my grandchildren, pardon the interruption. The rice took me by surprise. I didn't know, first of all, that we can bake rice. Hello, I'm new to the world. And then the onion cut was so minor. My granddaughter ate 2 bowls of rice. Miss, I hate onions.
Really?
Thank you, chefs. That was excellent.
You're welcome. That's great.
Yes.
And, I mean, the rice probably came out great, right? It was perfect.
Yes, it did. It really did. I followed the rice to the perfection, and we will be using that one again.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Mernicia Griffin?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, hello. I enjoyed this week as well. It was I love beans and rice first. I always cook it, but I never use the sachet, um, or the celery, or the tomatoes. And they were really, really good. Usually I have a lot left over, but they killed the pot. They killed it all. But I have a question. So if I'm sweating meat, does it make a difference if I start the beans with cold water? Or if I put them in hot water, are they going to cook faster? Are they going to sear or be more tender?
You mean the beans?
Yeah, the beans.
You want to start cooking the beans with cold water. Start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Otherwise, what happens if you start cooking those with hot water? They're going to start breaking down, and the outside is going to cook so quick, like cooking potatoes, right? So you want the temperature of the water to rise, gradually. So the beans are not going to start breaking down. So you always want to start, cooking beans in cold water.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. One more. Tiara? Tiara, you there? Okay, so we're gonna get going to, I want to share my screen to kind of show you guys what we have for, this week. This is gonna be an exciting week, you guys, week 4. So I have my welcome video, I want you guys to kind of, watch it, because I give you guys an overview of what's gonna be happening for the week, right? So you have your reading material here. You also have those videos, technique videos for this week, showing you how to make, the sauces, the pasta, very nice. Detail. Also, you have a knowledge check. And remember, you guys, if you take the knowledge check, if you only got like a 3 or 4, or even a 5 or 6, go back and do it again. Do it again, because like I said before, some of these questions are going to show up again in your week 11 final exam. All right, and you can take it as many times you want. The more you do it, the better, because the questions will change, and only the highest score is going to stay in the grade book. So please take an extra, 5 minutes and do it again until you get a really nice grade. So this week we are doing pasta and sauces, right? We're going to be doing an Alfredo sauce, a tomato sauce, and fresh pasta, you guys. And don't worry, making fresh pasta is very easy, right? And by the way, you don't have to have a pasta machine, those rolling machines. But if you got one, it's going to make your life much easier. You can do it with a rolling pin. I'm telling you, will be able to. In the old days, there were no machines. People did it by hand. So if you don't have a pasta machine, don't sweat it. You can still make your pasta and do everything. Using your knife and a rolling pin to cut your pasta, to roll the pasta and cut your pasta. So when we talk about sauces, tomato sauce is one of the 5 mother sauces. If you look at this folder I got for you guys on the helper folder, you're going to see this. This is a little chart here. Has the 5 mother sauces. Tomato sauce, one of them. You're going to be doing a velouté sauce, a week 5 bechamel sauce, and a hollandaise sauce. We're not going to be making an Espanol, but these are the 5 mother sauces. As you can see, tomato sauce, the base is tomatoes, right? And then you can make different sauces. This is like a base sauce that a lot of times in the restaurant we'll make this base sauce. From there, we'll create the smaller sauces, like you can see here, Creole sauce, a Spanish sauce, and most of the time you use this for pasta, even to serve a dish, right? You can also use the sauce as a base for a marinara sauce or meat sauce, right? So when you make a mother sauce, that's like the base, right? And from there, you can take a little bit out, add other ingredients to create a different sauce. And that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work, because once you have this base sauce, you can make a lot of small sauces from there. So again, you're gonna be doing the velouté sauce on week 5 with a chicken stock, but we're gonna start with tomato sauce, and you're also gonna be doing the hollandaise sauce in your next class. Okay, see this? Hollandaise sauce is used a lot in eggs Benedict. It's a breakfast, right? So it's one of those things that you're gonna love to do. But again, we start with this tomato sauce right now, and when we talk about the sauce, the way that we're gonna thicken up the sauce by pureeing the sauce. So if we look at the recipe here, this recipe is very simple. We look at tomato sauce. Okay, it's calling for salt pork or bacon. Okay, I know some of you guys are like, wow, I never had that in my sauce. Well, if you don't want to use either or, you can skip it and just use a little oil to saute your vegetables, right? You're gonna put some onions in there, some carrots, some tomatoes, right? I would definitely recommend to buy canned tomatoes. If you have fresh tomatoes that you might have frozen or canned from your garden, that's okay. But many times if you want to use like fresh tomatoes in the store, those tomatoes were not fine ripe, right? So even though they look red, they're not really ripe. So the sauce now gonna come out very, very nice. So that's why, I recommend getting, canned tomatoes. That's okay, unless you have some tomatoes that you harvest from your garden, that you have canned or you have frozen. I like to freeze my tomatoes sometimes, and you can use them. Those are going to be making the best sauce because, I mean, fine ripe tomatoes are the best, right? So for this week, I know you probably and the equipment list to get a food meal. If you don't have one of those, that's okay. But the reason that many times, and most of the time, we do not use a blender to puree your sauce. Okay, and this is why. When you are using a blender, you're going to be adding a lot of air because the blender is going so fast. And what's going to happen? Your sauce is going to become a little bit like orange, right? It's not going to be as bright red. But if that's all you have, you can use it this week. But normally in the restaurant setting, we use an immersion blender, which is not as fast. An immersion blender is one of those it has like a stick with a blade in the bottom, and it doesn't go as quick, right? It's not as fast, so you can use one of those. But if you're using a blender, oh my God, you got to be very careful because when you puree in a hot sauce, what happens? The pressure is going to build, okay, and it's going to blow up. So what you want to do if you're using a blender, and that's okay for this week. If you don't have anything else, if you got a blender, puree the sauce, kind of pulse it, but you definitely want to, put your hand over the top of the lid with a towel. Hold down the lid. Otherwise, if you just turn it on, it's going to blow up everywhere. One student one time, he did not listen to a live session. He went and did his blender, and sure enough, it was an explosion. This whole kitchen was full of tomato sauce, and luckily he was okay. He did not get burned, but it is very important that you do safety, right? So, but normally you will not be pureeing the sauce in a restaurant kitchen, right? And that's why, because your sauce now gonna be nice and red. It's gonna be kind of oranges, right? So if you do that, you might see, hey, my sauce is not as red because it's a little orange now. And that's why, because you're adding a lot of air when you puree it. So one of the things you might want to do is just pulse it until it becomes nice and smooth. So I kind of also explained to you guys some of the different sauces you can make with this tomato sauce. If you want to take this and make a meat sauce, that's okay. You can do that. Or you can make a Creole sauce or maybe a marinara sauce. So this is a base, right? You can just serve it like that, like it is. This sauce is very, very nice. So again, the canned tomatoes versus fresh, that's the thing. The canned are more, they're very consistent. When you have like fresh tomatoes at the store, they might look red, but when you cut them in half, they're gonna look kind of greenish on the outside. And that's because when they, harvest tomatoes, they're green, and they put them in this big cooler, this chamber with gas to make them, turn red. But that's not really a ripe tomato. So it's definitely better to get canned tomatoes for your tomato sauce this week. Any questions so far? I see some hands that went up. Tiara, you got a question? Tiara, are you there? Tiara, you got a question? Okay, maybe not. Hey, Roger.
So I prefer San Marzano tomatoes in the can.
Those are great tomatoes. Those are, the raw tomatoes in the can. Yeah, you can use those. Those are the ones that we, when I work in an Italian restaurant, those are the tomatoes that we use to make a marinara sauce.
Okay, they can be kind of hard to find for some reason, but those are the ones I normally prefer. I was just wondering if there was another, just in case I can't get those, if there's another brand or.
You can get any kind of canned tomato out there, but those are a good brand. I used those in the past, and they're really nice.
Okay, thank you, Chef.
No problem. Bernicia?
Hi. Okay, so if I have the puree setting on my blender, would that work?
It will work. Just be careful that you don't. You want to cover. Put your hand over the lid with a towel so it doesn't blow up. Because when you turn the blender on with the hot tomato sauce, it's gonna build pressure. And it's just gonna be an explosion. Okay. So you want to kind of put your hand on top and kind of pulse it. So you don't want to run it for too long. Otherwise, tomato sauce is gonna become a little orange.
Okay.
Okay. No problem. Olivia?
Hi, Chef. I was wondering, is it okay if we can use Splenda instead of like sugar?
What do you want to use Splenda for?
Because, me and my mom, we're both diabetics. and we love to use Splenda a lot for things like.
I mean, you
So-
can, but you don't have to put any sugar in the sauce. Honestly, I mean, I'm gonna give you another tip that you can do it without having to do it with sugar. But yeah, you can use sugar if you want to put a little sugar in your tomato sauce. A lot of
Okay.
people like to add a little sugar to cut down or kind of balance the acid in the tomatoes. But you can also do like a very tiny, uh, just a little tiny pinch of baking soda in there because it's it's gonna kind of lower the acidity level on the tomatoes. Okay, baking soda.
Okay, thank you, Chef.
Okay, no problem. Noemi?
Hi everyone, how are you doing this evening?
Good.
My question is, I don't have a blender. Will a NutriBullet work?
You can use that, yeah. Just be careful, yeah. You can use that, but don't blend it too long.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Let's go back and kind of show you guys, the steps for your tomatoes. So this is your the steps. You're gonna render the salt pork, right? So you're gonna cut it into small pieces, right? And to start this, you wanna, if you're doing the bacon or salt pork, put it in the pot cold. Don't heat up the pot. You want to render the fat. What happens when you put this piece of bacon or salt pork into the pot that's hot? It's gonna create a crust, right? And then it's gonna prevent the fat from kind of coming out. So you want to start this in the cold pot. If you're using bacon, chop it up, and then you put it in the cold pot. Then you put it on the fire, turn the heat to medium, and you're gonna see the start to sweat, and you're gonna see some of the fat come out. If you don't want to use any of them, bacon or salt pork, you can skip this. Use a little oil, right? Put the oil in the pot. Saute the onions and the carrots. You don't want to brown too much, and then you're gonna add your tomatoes. You're gonna make a sachet, right? Here is a sachet. Let me show you what it looks like. And again, you don't have to have cheesecloth, right? You can use a coffee filter to make your sachet. So what goes in there? You're gonna put some garlic cloves, peppercorns, some fresh thyme or rosemary, and you're gonna tie it up, right? So if you look at this folder here, this is what it looks like, okay? If you find cheesecloth, that's okay. Otherwise, don't worry. You're gonna cut a piece. Usually, if you want to get it, you can find it as a Walmart where they have all the crafts and stuff, like even like the cloths and stuff. You can find cheesecloth. But again, if you don't find it, use a coffee filter. So you're gonna tie it up with like a little string, and this is to add flavor to your sauce. Then when it's done, you're gonna pull it out. Do not puree this, okay? One time a student forgot to take it out, and she was pureeing the stuff with a little stick blender, so everything got kind of the twine got stuck in the blade, and she was laughing because she forgot to take it out. So you do this to take it out, right? A lot of times, if you're making like a big stock pot, usually you just throw the stuff in there, but it's hard to pull it out. So again, if you don't have cheesecloth, use coffee filter. And by the way, this is what salt pork looks like. If you guys want to get it, it's like a pizza square. It says cured salt pork. And again, some of this you just cut it up into small pieces, and that's a lot of flavor. But again, if you want to skip that, that's okay too. So that's the steps to make your tomato sauce. And honestly, I would definitely start making your tomato sauce first because that's gonna simmer, right, for a while, and then you can go to the Alfredo sauce. Any questions, you guys, before I move on to explain the Alfredo sauce and how to get it done? Danita. Danita,
Yes, Chef. My question is, I have canned crushed tomatoes. Is that good?
Those are fine. Those are fine. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Chef.
Cool. Excellent. Yes. Okay. Now on to Alfredo sauce. Okay. So this sauce is going to be taken by reduction, right? You're going to reduce the sauce, and when you're using heavy cream and cheese, the sauce is going to be nice and thick. So how many of you guys have made Alfredo sauce in the past? Raise your hand or had it. See, a lot of you guys. And this sauce is so easy to make. You're going to be like, oh my God. If you look at the recipe, you guys, there's only a few ingredients, but there's some things I would like you guys to know. So you need some heavy cream, heavy whipping cream, some butter. Okay, you need some garlic cloves, one. If you want to add a little more, it's okay. Some Parmesan cheese, okay. One of the things I want to recommend, try to get one of those wedges. You don't want to get the cheese that comes already grated. But again, if that's all you can find, that's okay. But when you get the cheese that's grated, they add the cellulose starch. Okay, so the cheese does not clump together. And what happens when they add this powder to the cheese, it kind of prevents cheese from melting really nice. So sometimes students reach out, it's like, hey, my sauce looks kind of grainy. But then I'm like, hey, what kind of cheese do you use? And they got the cheese that comes in a can, grated, and that's why it happens. If you can get a piece like those little wedges of Parmesan cheese, that's better because that cheese is natural and it's gonna melt very nice when you're making the sauce. And it's gonna be nice and smooth. It won't be grainy. So you want to have a very nice and smooth sauce. So, but again, if you can get a wedge, get the grated stuff. But again, you might see that your sauce might not be too very smooth because the cheese does not melt very well. So going back to the recipe here again. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna melt the butter in a shallow pan, like a saute pan. Add the garlic clove in there. If you wanna have some more garlic, add some more extra. I like to have a lot of garlic in my sauce, so I add a little more. Once the garlic's nice and fragrant, add the cream, right? You're gonna bring it to a simmer, reduce it down to a nice nappy consistency, right? If you don't wanna remove the garlic, you can leave it in there. I usually leave it in there. And then you're gonna add the Parmesan cheese. You're gonna see that once you add the cheese, it's gonna get a little thicker. So make sure that you don't reduce it too much. Otherwise, it might be too thick. Also, when you add the pasta in there into the sauce is gonna get even more thicker because there's gonna be a lot of starch coming from your pasta that's gonna take it up the sauce. So you definitely don't wanna have a big, like a clumpy sauce. It should be very, very smooth. So I'm gonna show you what the nappe consistency means, right? So when you look at your Alfredo sauce in this folder here, what that means, if you stick a spoon in the sauce and pull it out, it should just kind of coat the back of the spoon, right? It's not on a drip, so you kind of run your finger like that. It's gonna stay. It's not on a drip down. So nice and nappy. At this point, you're ready to kind of add your pasta because the sauce is gonna be just right on, right? You don't want to have the sauce too thick because by the time you add the pasta, it's gonna get even thicker from all the starch just coming from the pasta. So again, these are some of the steps like okay for your setup. You got your mise en place. So you can see this is the cheese I was talking about. It comes in a little wedge like that you created yourself. And it's the best, right? Then you're gonna kind of put the butter in a pan. Okay, you're gonna melt it. Then once this butter is melted, you're gonna throw the garlic in there. Don't brown the garlic. Just gonna you want to sweat it so it adds flavor to the sauce. Then you're gonna put the cream in there. Okay, bring it to simmer. Don't turn it on too high because it's gonna boil over. So just be careful. Keep an eye on that. Once it gets like this consistency, you turn it off, right? You're gonna be ready to add your pasta. Okay, so this sauce is so easy to make, you guys. I'm telling you, it's so easy. It's very rich, and you're gonna love it, right? I see a lot of hands going up. Karen. Karen. You got a question? Okay, maybe not. Tiara? Tiara, are you there? Maybe not.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, are you there?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
My question is, I left you a message because what I'm struggling with for the past couple weeks is I cannot seem to be able to turn.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Cutting in and out. Can you type in the chat for Chef Eric to answer your question?
Yes.
Gildo?
Yes. Hi, Chef.
Hi there. Hi.
It's okay. Uses crushed garlic.
Hello.
You can use crushed garlic. Yeah, it's okay, but fresh garlic's gonna be better. You mean the one that comes in the jar already? Honestly, I never like to use that. I like to use fresh. So if you got like a fresh garlic clove, it's gonna be better.
Okay.
But if that's all you have, you can use the crushed garlic. That's okay.
Okay.
Okay, Kylie. Kylie, are you there? Okay, maybe not. Kelly.
Kaylee. Oh, hi, Chef. My question is, we have to do both the tomato and the Alfredo sauce.
Yes, you gotta make both of them. Yes, you do.
Okay, and for the garlic clove for the Alfredo, we chop it up and saute it like.
Yes, you can
bread.
chop it up. Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
You're welcome. Noemi.
Hi, Chef. My question is, what type of cream can we use
You need
specifically? That's
heavy cream. You're gonna use heavy whipping cream.
what type of particular cream is that?
It's a heavy whipping cream. That's the name of the cream. It's labeled heavy whipping cream. It's right by the milk and by all the creams, by the butter.
Okay.
So it's labeled heavy whipping cream.
Okay.
Okay. Chef Eric, anything we'd like to add?
No, Chef, I'm just trying to man this wild chat that we got going down here. So
I know you guys, if you send me like a private message, I can't see that right now. So you need to just send it to Chef Eric. That way you can see them. If you send me a private message to me, he can't see this. So just type in the chat and don't send it to me right now because I can't see that right now. All right?
Also, remember, guys, is that, is like we're talking through this entire assignment for you all as well, right? So all three are required: Alfredo, sauce tomate, as well as fresh pasta. Okay, so to clarify that, when it comes down to ingredients, if you want to omit herbs, that's okay. Just remember, though, that, is like you want to try and create a flavor profile here as well, and really try and get the foundations, because these are all foundation sauces. So these are going to help you be able to kind of make those creative changes in the future when it comes down to different dishes in order to complement different proteins, different pastas that you're going to be using as well. Okay, because it's all about that learning experience, and we want to create the foundations first and foremost. So if you're allergic to things, feel free to reach out to me. I can also help you with that, as to where I am lactose intolerant as well as gluten intolerant. So making both Alfredo sauce and pasta, I've had to kind of find different ways of creating a similar textured product and similar flavored products. So, if you need help with that, definitely reach out to me, personal message me on the website rather than just in this chat here as well, because I got a lot of other trying to maintain you all is a little bit tricky at the moment. So I do apologize. I'll make sure to try and get to every one of you.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you. So moving on to fresh pasta. I want to see how many of you guys have made fresh pasta or had fresh pasta before. Raise your hand. Yes, you guys made it or had it. Fresh pasta is the best, right? And it's not very hard to make. You're going to find out this week. I know that sometimes students get really stressed. Like, oh my God, we're going to make fresh pasta. It's so hard. But you know what? Don't sweat it. It's really just a technique of getting your dough nice and knead the dough to nice and smooth, right? So the difference between fresh pasta and dry, right? You might work in a restaurant where they're not going to use fresh pasta, right? Unless they like really pride themselves and they kind of advertise, fresh homemade pasta, right? But a lot of places are going to be using dry. Okay, the dry pasta is a lot different. Okay, one, it's going to take longer to cook compared to fresh pasta, and you can keep it for quite a long time and dry in the shelf, right? Also, cooking it. Like I said, fresh pasta, it cooks in 1 minute. Cooking fresh pasta is going to take 8 to 10 minutes, to do. Also, when you're doing fresh pasta, you're going to cook it ahead of time, right? Because it's going to take that long for service. So if you're like doing pasta for a special, you don't want to be waiting there 10 minutes to cook the pasta, right? You're going to cook a batch, you refresh it, get it ready. So when the order comes in, all you're going to do is dip it in the hot water to reheat it. On the other hand, fresh pasta, we cook to order, right? You get your pasta made, ready to go, and a little bundle. And then when you make your sauce, when you're ready to plate it, drop it in the hot boiling water with a lot of salt. 1 minute, it's done, and how it goes, right? So it cooks very fast. And what the reason we want you guys to do this, because you're gonna see the difference, right? And the key is to develop gluten. So just in case you wonder why it is gluten, okay? If you go to your class page, I have this really cool video right here. Where it says what is gluten. I mean, this is like a lot of science behind. So gluten is a protein found in wheat, right? And the higher the protein content, the more gluten is going to be. And you're going to see different types of flours out there. So there are two proteins in gluten. One is called glutenin, and the second one is gliadin. This helps the dough to be elastic, right? And it kind of helps the bread to rise. And really, that's what it does. And also, a lot of people are kind of, they can't have gluten, right? So if you're one of those students, I talked to Chef Eric, has got some ideas. Again, making it dough, it might not look the same if you're using a different type of flour, right? Because it doesn't have the elasticity the gluten does. If you were to like, okay, I used to do this in the past. I used to make a batch of, pasta dough, and I used to wash it off. Once it was done, I wash it off, I rinse all the starch out, and all that's left is like a big lump. It looks like a rubber band. You're gonna see the person in the video, the chef explained, you can stretch it out, and it doesn't break. You can blow it up like a balloon, and it just stretches, right? It's like a rubber band. That's what it is. Once these two proteins combine in the process of liquid, water in this case, I mean, that's what it becomes, like a rubber band, right? So that's what gives it brighter structure, and that's what helps your dough to be elastic when you roll it out. So the key to develop the gluten is to knead the dough really nice. So you need to use, put some elbow grease in there. Don't be like, okay, I'm tired, I want to give up, and then my dough is done. No, the dough has to be very smooth, right? Very smooth. I'm going to show you some pictures, right? So this is what your dough should look like when you're done kneading the dough, right? So if you look over here, she looks on like this, very smooth, okay? Also, when you're working with the pasta dough by hand, you're gonna know when it's ready. The dough is like gonna talk to you, right? As a chef, we're gonna know when things are done by the way they feel, the way they look, the way they smell. In this case, the way they look and the way they feel. If you were to press down on the stove with your fingers, it's gonna spring back up. Also, you're gonna see how smooth it is, right? There's no dry spots. Very smooth, very, very smooth, right? So this is going to take about half an hour to work this the dough, right? So this is your recipe. Very simple. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 ingredients, so you can't really mess this up, right? And you're gonna see that this dough might look a little dry when you're making it, right? But keep working it. If you think it's a little bit too dry, you can add a couple drops of cold water. So you're gonna need, 180 grams all-purpose flour, right? 2 eggs, lightly beaten, olive oil, and salt. Okay, so to make this, you're gonna make a nice mound. I like to do this the first time if you never made this dough before in a bowl, because sometimes you make a nice mound in the countertop, this well breaks. You got olive oil and eggs all over the place. So start this in a nice bowl, and you start mixing your dough with the eggs and oil. So in the center, right, you want to start working your dough until it starts to become moist and smooth. So these are the steps to kind of, after you have the dough done, to roll it out, right? So, but again, the key is to really work the dough really nice. You don't want to see any dry spots in the dough. You want to be nice and smooth, right? So if you press down, it's going to spring back up, because that's how you develop gluten. Otherwise, if your dough is kind of dry, it's going to rip when you try to roll it out. So one of the things you also need to do, you need to let it relax. So after you're done with the dough, you need to wrap it up in the plastic wrap, put it in the cooler, let it relax for at least 8 hours. You want the gluten to relax. I like to do this overnight. I make my dough one day, I wrap it up, goes in the cooler. The next day I take it out and I kind of roll it out and cut it. So the longer it stays in the cooler, the better, because you want those gluten to really relax and develop in there. So again, the key is to develop the gluten, and the only way to do it is by kneading the dough really nice. So it's one of those things that keep doing until you see the dough nice and smooth, like you see in those pictures. Also, like I said before, there are different flours out there that are gluten free, but when you make those, the noodles look a little different. And Chef Eric knows this, because students have mentioned in the past, like, my noodles don't look the same. Well, because there's no gluten in the dough, and that's why they look different. So, Chef, let me ask you this: what will you recommend using in case they can't have gluten in anybody out there?
Well, there is a couple. King Arthur Flours does make a all-purpose gluten-free flour mixture. It's generally going to be like I want to say tapioca flour, which kind of has an elastic side to it, as well as xanthium gum is going to be a good substitute in order to create that binding agent that starch generally gives you. You can still use eggs, so no worries there. You still use oil, so no worries there. Okay, that flour combination, they also like to mix in a little bit of cornstarch in there, which is going to also help create a little bit of a binding there for you. But for that binding and supplement for the starch, it's generally going to be a tapioca flour or that xanthium gum.
Thank you, Chef. And you're going to find out more when you get to your like baking class about different types of flours, right? So this week your recipe calls for all-purpose flour, right? You're going to see there's a cake flour, there's pastry flour, AP flour, bread flour, and then the top of all, semolina flour. Semolina flour is the one we normally use to make pasta, right? Because that one has the highest gluten content, because the wheat for the, where this flour is made from, it grows in the wintertime in the harsh conditions, so it's really tough, right? And what it is, the difference is the gluten content. I mean, the gluten content or the protein content, right? The more protein, there's gonna be more gluten. So when you're making a cake using cake flour, which has more starch, right? So you're gonna learn all this when you get into your baking pastry class, more detail. There's different flours for different applications. If you're making like a pie, you will use, like a pastry flour. And if you're making a cake flour. In this case, all-purpose flour will do the job. So semolina flour looks something like this. If you ever get it, this is the best to make pasta dough. So it looks like this. It looks like a coarse cornmeal, a little yellowish. And this is the brand that I like to use. It's a Bob's Red Meal. You can find this at Walmart, at Jewel. I don't know what stores you have, but there's like a little section. They make like specialty flours, and this is semolina. It's a hard durum wheat, which is this like the mother of flours to make pasta, right? And you're gonna see that this looks, it's not as white. It's not like a regular flour that's white. This is like a little yellowish, like a cornmeal kind of thing. Not very fine either. So if you ever get your hands on this, try it. I mean, this is the mother of the flours to make pasta, right? Go ahead,
Chef.
Steph. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bob's Red Mill, that was the other one that I couldn't think of. I did put it in the chat. Is another one that makes a all-purpose gluten-free flour as well, that you can go ahead and substitute. All the rest of your ingredients are going to be the same.
Yes. Thank you, Chef. Yeah, and that's a great, I like to do it because, I love making pasta. But again, if you can't find that AP flour, also you can use bread flour too, because bread flour has a higher, protein content. So you can use AP, bread flour, or semolina for this, for your assignment for this week. So again, the key to make your dough nice and smooth, to really prevent the dough from ripping, to knead the dough until it's nice and smooth and springy, okay? And it's gonna look a little dry at the beginning, right? This dough is not very soft. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna fight you. So keep kneading until the dough is nice and smooth and springy. So it might take you half an hour. So use those muscles. So keep working it, right? Otherwise, you're gonna have a hard time. If your dough looks kind of dry and the outside kind of flaky, that's not good. You wanna keep working it. So if you need to add a couple of drops of water, if you think it's too dry, add a couple of drops of water. It's not going to kill it. It's going to be okay. So I'm telling you, that's fine. So also another thing too, in the future, once you really get this technique down, you're going to be able to add different flavors to your pasta. You probably heard this before, seen in the store, like red pasta, spinach, some green, some black pasta, which they use squid ink to kind of dye that, or lemon zest, cracked black pepper. You can do whatever you want. Once you kind of understand how to make the dough, and that's what they do. They add maybe, for example, puree spinach to make it green, or red beets, or maybe saffron, right? There's so many different things you can add. So like Chef was saying, the important thing this week is to understand the technique and really get it down. So in the future, you can play with different things. So go into your to this folder to kind of show you what your pasta should look like. So again, you want to have your ingredients there like this, everything ready to go. He made it well on the counter, right? So again, if you want to do this in the counter, that's okay. Or you can, do in a bowl. Sometimes the well breaks and you got liquid all over the place. But again, you can do that too. It's just be careful. And then you want to work your dough, right? It's going to look kind of flaky like this at the beginning. See, it doesn't look too smooth. It's like kind of dry, flaky. So if it looks like this, you got to work some more. Keep doing it until you get to this stage, right? Something like this. See how it looks better? And then you go to another one. See, nice and smooth. You can see how you press down with 2 fingers, and it kind of bounces back up. See, you press down with my 2 fingers, then you see this. It bounces back up. And when you get your dough like this, it's time to wrap it up with some plastic wrap. Put it in the cooler. Put it away, to at least for 8 hours. Okay, because you want the gluten to really develop. Then I would recommend doing it overnight. Okay, next day you take it out. You're gonna cut it into 4 pieces, right? Because if you try to roll out the whole big piece, it's gonna be tough. So cut it out into 4 pieces, and you want to roll one at a time. Okay, if you got a little a pasta machine, that's okay. You can use that. It makes your life much easier. But even if you have a pasta machine, you gotta start rolling this out with a rolling pin, because if you try to force this through the pasta machine, it's gonna get stuck. So you need to roll it out with a pin until you get to like a 1/4 inch. Then you start pushing it through the machine, right? And you're gonna see that your dough is gonna fight you, right? It's gonna kind of stretch back up, right? So if that starts to happen, put it aside, sprinkle a lot of flour so it doesn't dry up, and you can cover with some plastic wrap. Work another piece and kind of alternate, right? You want to get your dough nice and thin, right? You should be able to see your hand right through. See how this chef is doing it with a rolling pin and cutting with a knife. So you want to kind of be able to see your hand right through, because if it's kind of thick, when you put it in the water, it's going to get even thicker. It's going to soak up a lot of moisture. So this is what another picture here. Look, you can see like this size start with a little pasta machine. And these machines, they're like 25 bucks. I think for Bed Bath & Beyond, you can find them for $25. But again, I'm not saying to go out and spend 25 bucks. If you got a rolling pin, that's going to work. But if you have one of these machines at home, it will make your life much easier, okay? So one of the things you want to do to kind of, do one at a time, right? And kind of, once you have it done, you want to sprinkle a lot of flour. To cut it, you kind of, fold it in half. So you sprinkle a lot of flour in this sheets, and you fold it. And then you cut it with your knife. Should be about a 1/4 inch wide for a fettuccine. And then you want to shake it off right away, because you don't want your dough to stick, and then you'll have no fettuccine. It's going to be like little chunks of pasta. So you don't want to go through all the work and have your pasta stuck back again. So that's how, if you don't have a cutter, use a knife, your chef knife. You fold it into thirds, and then you cut it into little strips, and then you shake it to show something like this, right? See this? You see how the student has his dough rolled out? He has a lot of flour. So if you have this like this, you kind of fold it in half, then you cut it with your knife, and then you shake it, add a lot of flour in there, because, even if you put a lot of flour, when you dump this pasta in the water, in the boiling water, all the flour is going to come off. So let's see if you have any questions about your pasta so far. Wesley.
Yeah. If we do refrigerate it overnight, do we need to let it come back to room temperature?
Well, yeah, you don't have to. You can start rolling it out when it's cold, and that's okay. I usually do it right away. I mean, if you can, if you want, it's going to be a little softer to roll out, but make sure you keep it covered. Otherwise, it might dry. So if you take it out of the cooler, if you want to bring it back to room temperature, keep it covered. Wrap in plastic wrap. Otherwise, it's going to dry up, and you don't want that. Cool. Roger?
Yeah, actually, I apologize. This is a question from earlier, and it just popped into my head.
Well, it's okay.
So this has to do with the tomato sauce and the bacon. There are countless types of bacon that you can get. Is there a preferred one for tomato sauce?
Well, no, any kind of bacon you can use, it's fine. Whatever you can find.
Okay. Okay, because it seems like it would be a tremendous area to play with for the flavors for your sauce, right?
Think of it kind of like ham hocks and turkey necks. So if you want a smokier, more robust sauce, right, go ahead and buy that smoked bacon, right? As to where generic is going to be pretty much like that salted pork. It doesn't really carry much of a smokiness to it whatsoever. It's just going to be very salty to kind of balance some things out for you.
Okay, thank you, chefs.
You're welcome. James? James, are you there? No, James? Okay, Shauna? Shauna,
Yes.
go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was looking on the description of all the photos we're gonna need for the pasta. It says we can do the picture with either or, not both. We don't have to do both.
What do you mean, either or? The sauce, you mean?
Well, on the pasta it says picture plated pasta plated with Alfredo sauce or tomato sauce.
Yeah, I would definitely do the one with Alfredo sauce for this week if that was me. But you can. Okay. Yeah, I would do that.
I would love to, but I have to breastfeed my baby. She can't have dairy, so I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, that's fine. No, that's okay. No problem. No problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So going back to like the rolling the pasta, right? I mean, the machine is gonna make your life much easier. But I mean, I'm telling you, if you got a rolling pin, I've done it in the past with like a bottle, right? Like a chef, right? Those wine bottles. I mean, you can do it, but a rolling pin is going to definitely be better, right? Because those bottles, you might have one of those, but you can do it. So, I mean, you don't have to have a machine. I mean, definitely it makes your life much easier. I got one of those, and it's really helps to kind of roll the pasta nice and thin. But if you don't have those, that's okay. Another thing too, when you see like the different names of pasta, like fettuccine, linguine, farfalle, and bow ties, all those things are just a name with the shape, right? They make the pasta from the same dough. It's not a different type of dough. It's the same, but the only thing that changes is that the name, the shape, right? Like a spaghetti, linguine, answer here, it's just the shape. But they make the pasta comes from the same dough. Unless you have like I said before, different colored pastas, like a ravioli, or like to make a ravioli, you see like the rainbow ones where they have different colors, and those are really nice to make. But you can try this in the future. Right now, we want you to really understand technique, right? And then in the future, you can play around with different ingredients, right? And different colors in there, because you can make some beautiful stuff. And by the way, if you want to maybe make some raviolis with this pasta you make here, after you cut the fettuccine, if you have some left over, hey, if you want to try some raviolis, go ahead. That's fine. I mean, you use the same pasta to make raviolis too. So keep that in mind. Also, know the cooking time. So this is very important. Once you roll your pasta, all right, you're ready to cut it. You have your Alfredo sauce pretty much done. This is going to be a quick, so you need to really pay attention. You want to put some, a lot of water in the pot. You want to salt it very nicely. The water should be salted like the seawater. A lot of salt in there, right? And then you want to bring it to a boil. You're going to dump all your pasta all at once, and only it's going to take 1 minute to cook. Otherwise, it starts to get really, it breaks down. This should cook no more than 2 minutes, you guys. So that's why you got to have your Alfredo sauce ready to go. Nice nappy consistency and stovetop. So you can, you need to multitask this week, right? When your pasta is done, make sure when you cut the pasta, you don't want to let it dry too much, or you want it to cover with a lot of flour, because otherwise it might stick. So sprinkle a lot of flour in those fettuccine noodles when you cut them up. That way they don't stick together. And then you got your water going, it's boiling, you dump the pasta in there, your sauce is ready. When the pasta is done, you take it out and you dump it in the sauce. You want to toss it really nice. And again, if you use sauce is too thick, you can add a little milk or maybe some water from the pasta ready to thin it down. And then you're ready to plate. Okay, so your pasta should not have a pool of sauce in the bottom either. It should just have a nice coat in the noodles. Otherwise, you're just wasting money. So you don't want to have like a big pool sauce in the bottom. You just want to have some nice consistency, nice coating in there. You see, there's no pool of sauce in the bottom. Otherwise, you'll be wasting money, especially, Alfredo sauce or cream is very expensive. So you want to plate it really nice. And that's it. If you want to add maybe some grilled chicken or some shrimp to your finished pasta, that's okay. Maybe you want to toss some fresh spinach in there. That's fine with us too. I'm sure Chef there is going to love some different things, right, Chef?
I think this week usually makes me the hungriest, Chef. I see all the different versions of pasta and everything that everybody's making, and whether they make ravioli or they go ahead and make spaghetti or even fettuccine. But it's always the kicker whenever they add that protein in there, right? When they start, adding the sausage in there, or the chicken, the shrimp, right? I think I saw one back in the day where somebody actually cooked off some lobster and then broke that out of its shell, and then went ahead and put a little bit of that in there with that fettuccine. And I was just like, oh, man, I don't get a lot of that stuff out here in Colorado anymore because it's pretty expensive for seafood. So I missed my Detroit days where I was actually able to access a lot of fresh fish and seafood. And man, this week really makes me hungry. So bring it on, guys. I'm going to go out. I'm going to get some snacks for when I do your guys' grading. So, bring it to me.
Cajun shrimp fettuccine. That sounds good. Oh, can you imagine, Chef, a Cajun shrimp fettuccine? Sounds like a deal for me. I'm telling you, that's good.
Yeah, some shrimp tossed in a little bit of oil and some Creole seasoning, and then sauteed off to perfection, and then just draped on top, just like that picture you just showed. You're already making me hungry, Chef.
Yeah, no, and you guys remember, this pasta should be served right away, okay? Because it's fresh, and you don't want to cook it and then kind of let it sit. Like I said before, when you do dry pasta, right, you cook a big batch, but that's dry pasta. You do it ahead of time. When you do it fresh, you cook the order and it's served right away. So the sauce is ready. You take the pasta out of the water for 1 minute and boil in water. Make sure the water is boiling, okay? Take it out, and the sauce, you toss it, you plate it right away, right? So this pasta should be in the sauce. You never serve pasta, just dry by itself. So make sure you do one of the sauces. I've definitely do the Alfredo sauce for the fettuccine, and then you can use your tomato sauce for whatever you want. But again, it's just me. You can do it whatever you like. And going back to this folder, I'm going to show you some, one time the student did this. Look at this. She went ahead and did this red beet pasta, regular, and then spinach. I mean, this is, you can try this in the future, but this looks beautiful. I mean, the same dough, but then you add, like a red beet puree, some spinach puree, and then you choose the regular one. See how beautiful it looks? So you guys can do this. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but you definitely need to plan your week. It is very important that you plan because you don't want to find yourself in a Tuesday night cooking tomato sauce, making pasta dough, and then everything just goes crazy, right? So plan like a chef, you guys. I would do your dough one day, knead it really nice until it's nice and smooth. You wrap it up, goes in the cooler. You can even do the tomato sauce the same day, right? And then next day, you take out your dough, your pasta dough, you roll it out, you make your Alfredo sauce, and you make dinner for the family, right? So again, this is how we do things in the restaurants that in the chef. You don't do everything all at once. Start thinking, okay, if you need some ideas, some help with that, send us a message. But you know what? That's what I would do. I would make my dough one day, wrap it up, put it in the cooler, and if you have time to kind of prep for your tomato sauce or do some prep or whatever, maybe you want to grate your cheese for your Alfredo sauce and wrap it up in a Tupperware. The more you can do as a prep, the easier it will be for you to get the cooking done, right? So, you can also, grate the cheese. You can maybe cut up your bacon for your tomato sauce, wrap it up. And then next day you take everything out. You can cut carrots, you can cut onions, right? Think like a chef, prep, right? It's what we do. And you are not going to fail, right, chef?
Mise en place, people. Mise en place. Goes all the way back to just writing a recipe as a chef, right? Making sure you have everything you need in preparation is key. Grocery shopping, that's part of your mise en place. Okay, making sure you have the proper equipment, that's part of your mise en place. Okay, every part of the planning process is incorporated in that mise en place, all the way straight down to that garnish that you're going to do on that plate. Okay, every small little detail makes life that much easier. Okay, so that way all you got to do, worry about the process, knock it out, plate it, serve it, good to go, home free. And then you can go ahead and get your little one to go ahead and do the dishes for you or something.
Thank you, chef. Let's see, let me show you guys your assignment. So this for your pictures, right? Your sauce. I mean, I would definitely start with the tomato sauce, obviously, or the pasta. Make the pasta first. These are the photos you need. You want to show, self of the photo, your sanitized solution, mise en place. Have your flour, your eggs, your oil, a few ingredients ready to go. Portion. You don't want to show the bag of flour. You want to have everything portioned out, right? Ready to start making this. Then you're gonna show your eggs, and with the flour, kind of make a little well, and then you're gonna kind of start incorporating your ingredients. Okay. The wet and dry. Then you're going to knead it though until it's nice and smooth. You're going to wrap it up and put it away. Again, next morning you can take it out, and and you're not going to have all these photos all in one shot because you need to let your pasta dough rest. Take it out, and then you roll it out. You serve pictures, and then your finished product, right? Plate a dish. The same thing with tomato sauce. I mean, you only need 1, 2, 3, like 5 pictures, 7. If you do everything in the same day, you can just have the same photo for you. But if you do this in different days, you want to have different pictures for you dressed in uniform. Think like a chef, right? So you definitely want to show all these pictures, and you know this by now because this is how you get graded, right? You need to follow directions, and then you don't forget your narrative reflection sheet down here. I really think you guys are going to do a great job. I don't have any doubt. And just plan your week. Plan your week and then try to get this done over the weekend, right? Because that's what chefs do. And you're gonna be really, you're gonna feel really good when Monday comes around and you're done. You're ready for week 5, right? So this week is very important that you get everything done because I want to see all of you guys come back on week 5 because week 5 is gonna be another great week, right? So James, are you there now? Got a question?
Yes, and I'm making a chicken parmesan and chicken Alfredo.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm planning on using the chicken from the previous weeks.
Okay, sounds good. You got chicken breast roast, and that's good. Good idea.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, because you're welcome.
All right, Shauna Johnson.
Yes, on the pasta again. Was there any particular size we're supposed to cut the pasta?
It's a
this week?
fettuccine cut. It's like a 1/4 inch wide.
Okay.
That's a fettuccine. So if you look here on your require, it's a 1/4 inch wide fettuccine. Okay.
Okay, thank
You have
you.
you have a pasta machine, or you're gonna do it with a knife?
I'm gonna cut.
You're gonna use your knife skills. Yes, you can do it. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, when you roll it out,
Sizes.
What was that, Chef?
when you roll it out, go ahead and put that that ruler we gave you
Mhm.
right at the bottom.
Mhm.
Okay, and then start there. Make a whole bunch of little indentations with your knife first,
Okay.
and then go ahead and rotate it out and draw that line up with your knife.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Adrian Cox.
Hi, Chef. How are you?
Oh no, well, how you doing, Adrian?
I'm doing better. I'm excited about this week. But in regards to the pasta dish, is it when we fabricated the chicken, and I know we had some of the pieces left over, are we going to be using that for future assignments, or can we?
On week 5, you're gonna be making a chicken broth, the chicken stock, so you're gonna be using that. Yes, if you have it frozen, next week 5, next week you're gonna be using the chicken. Excellent.
Got it. Thank you.
Well, you guys, I wanna see you. Give me some thumbs up. What do you think about this week? It's gonna be all good. You guys are gonna be excellent chefs, and you're gonna do a great job, right?
Aaron, flip those things upside down, my friend. Right side up. Thank you.
Yes, you guys are gonna do great, Chef. Anything you would like to add to take us out of here?
No, guys, just trust it. Enjoy it. Have some fun. It's pasta. Get messy. Expect to get messy. And if you don't have one of those screens that go over the top of your pan, that's something to also get for that tomato sauce while it's simmering, because you'll find a messier splatter, almost similar to that of trying to blend it when it's hot while it's bubbling for you and that simmer. I use one of those all the time because it limits the mess that I have to clean up afterwards. Just a heads up there, guys.
Especially tomato sauce. Yes, be safe. You guys reach out if you need help with anything, but hey, start playing like the chefs. You guys are doing an amazing job. Very proud, and I want to see you guys keep going. All right, don't let anything stop you. Nothing can stop you guys. Only you. So you can do this, right? All right. Thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. Have a great evening now. Thank you, Chef. Have a good night, you guys.